mill right now.
Right.
See, they haven't hit the others yet. See, all them cats that.
All right, welcome back to POFO Community for Justice, and I have Brother Bruce Broussard here with me today, and he'll be talking about people that are running for titles as governors and other titles, and I'm looking forward to hearing him speak from the heart about all these people with these wonderful goals.
Well, thank you, Cecil.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for continuing participating. It's
Yes,
a very,
sir.
very
Yes.
important medium
Yes.
out there to the public out there, and this is kind of like a partnership that we're doing, because I'm going to be doing the same thing on the voting part, see, because we're right, that's where we are right now.
Okay.
We're in the voting aspect of it. And then naturally the highlight that brings all of this stuff about is the fact that we got our President Trump, you know, he's in office now, the President of the United States, but the idea is people should be focusing on voting. And in 4 years, you know, all of a sudden, well, actually about 3 years now, there's going to be the presidential election. But
Yes.
then there's a lot of other elections that we're doing here in Oregon.
Oh, great.
A lot of elections, if you will. And so it all begins, if you will, come March, first March. That will be the last day for filing. Anybody who wants to run for office will have to file by March.
Okay, sounds
March.
great. Yes.
And then they will run a group. If it's a partisan position, then it's you got the Republicans, your Democrats, and you got the Independents, the Green parties. Anybody could run.
Great.
Even if it's just a write-in. If you don't even have to, but you got to be able to register in one of those parties to
Yes.
be able to vote.
Yes.
And you can register all the way up to a certain point after March, for that matter.
Oh, wonderful.
So
Okay.
so it's very important, and I guess today is very, very, very important, because we need to know what the issues are.
Well,
And
that's very true. That's
Very, very
true.
much so, because a lot of times what we have here in Oregon, we vote by mail. You
Yes.
got me? And a lot of times people are just influenced because the mail comes to the house and they don't know what's going on. They don't know. A lot of times they don't even know the whole you vote. But they put it all out there for you and put an extra, and you may not know anybody. But you put Mickey Mouse on there, you might know that.
Yes.
Somebody might say, "Well, I know that one," and then they just throw it away and round file it. So a lot of times that could be taken advantage of from other folks within the house, or other
Right.
folks, or influence, if you will.
Correct.
So I think today it's very, very important that we know what the issues are. And I'm coming right here in the city of Portland, for that matter, and the county, for that matter. As you can see, this is the largest city and the largest county that we have in the state of Oregon, and there are many issues here.
All right.
I mean, and so here's an opportunity again to talk about. A lot of folks feel that we got to get the city back in check again. You know, we got to be able to look at those roses and be able to walk down the street, or go down at night and go down and pick up a loaf of bread at the store.
Yes.
Safety.
Oh, yes.
You know, the safety is very important. We got the whole issue with baby boomers. You know, they're now at the point, senior citizens, and trying to figure out where they're going to live.
That's true.
They've educated the kids, and all of a sudden they're being pushed out by the kids, because the kids went to college.
Yes.
So they went into another upper class.
Yes.
And a lot of times they are the leadership right now.
Okay.
And so the old folks and the poor folks if you will. If you didn't go to college or this, that, and the other, you know, they gotta subsidize the people who did go to college. They want more money.
Absolutely.
And so since they're the leadership, they're naturally going to be looking out for self.
Yes.
You see, but we do have a situation where, like I say, with senior citizens, it's a very, very interesting piece as far as that being able to stay in their houses. They got taxes they got to deal with, and some of them, a lot of them losing their homes as a result of that. And where do they stay?
That's true. Yeah.
So they need housing, if you will. They need health care, big time. Okay. And so, but at the same time, we do have the young folks that are sitting up in that area, and it puts a lot of pressure on a lot of things. So we got to figure out what that's all about. So I'm getting back to the election piece.
Right.
So now people are running for office and having to deal with those. Those are the kinds of issues they need to deal with.
That's correct.
You know what I'm saying? Jobs. You know, we got homelessness, and a lot of people don't realize the definition of homeless a lot of times. You know, you could be still living in your house and paying your bills and be homeless.
That's very, very true.
Month to month.
Yes,
type
that's
routine,
right.
You got me? Or the kinds of food you're having to eat.
Absolutely.
All kinds of stuff.
Yes,
See?
yes.
So there are many issues on the table. So hopefully during these elections, there are people that are responding to those kinds of issues.
Okay.
Some cases you can solve them, some cases you can't. But the whole idea is that there's the debate, and shows like yourselves and like myself, if you will, what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be trying to get as many of those folks who are running for office.
That's true. That's
right after
true.
March, if you will. That's when folks, then we know who they are. But then sometimes there are folks that might say, well, I haven't filed yet to run for office or something like that, but they may know the issues that we may have them interview now.
Right, which we do. Yes,
which we do
right now.
Right now aspect of it. And that's good. Okay. Then when you get the voters pamphlet, you get the voters pamphlet first. You get your voters pamphlet first, which is basically an accumulation of all the people that are running for office.
That's correct.
And a lot of times they have their resumes on there, and then all due respect, you know, they've had time to think about it, but a lot of times you can't read them. You know, you can't read the resume.
That's very true.
With the person that's running.
Yes.
So this way, you know, with the shows like yourself and myself or whatever and others, we need to see the candidates more often.
Which we do.
Yeah,
we definitely do.
Right.
Yes.
And the candidates need to know that needs to happen.
Yes.
Because a lot of times they don't want to get out. You see what I'm saying? They take it personal. You can't be personal when you're running for office. You're talking about representing the constituency.
Absolutely.
You're talking to the employers
Yes.
for the constituency.
Yes.
You're an employee.
Amen.
And a lot of times people don't understand that are running. They think they're the employers. But that's not the case.
Yes.
They're employees. It's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Okay.
We've all heard that when we were going to school.
That's very
right?
true.
You got me?
That's very true.
So the name of the game is it's a start, and I thought maybe this is why we maybe comment about this on the front end. So it's very, very, very important that you get out, register to vote. There are guidelines in terms of days that you have in order to vote in an election, you got to be registered to vote.
Right.
And because typically what happens is that people start getting excited about the election after it's all gone.
That's true. It's all over with.
It's all over with.
And they're trying to get
then they got
to the
issues here that they trying to. Then there are issues about that they need to have some major concern, but they need to talk about them now.
True.
Before the person gets elected.
Absolutely.
You got me? So that's why I'm saying that I like the fact that you feel comfortable with that, and we're going to try to get as many candidates as we can.
And that'll be
You see
wonderful.
what I'm saying? And then sometime we're just going to talk about the issues.
Because we want to champion all of our causes,
Exactly.
and we want them to speak from their heart.
Yes.
And tell people the truth about what they can and can't do.
Exactly.
Or either be exposed for what they can and can't do.
Right. So that's kind of like where we're coming from at this point in time. So what we'll do today is that we'll just kind of just do a little overview. Like I said, we talked about this piece.
Yes.
And again, like I said, the deadline, if you want to run for office,
Yes.
anybody can run for office.
That's true.
If you're a U.S. citizen, you know what I'm saying, that kind of a deal, you got to register though.
Right.
And then once you register, you pay the fee. First you can vote, but you got to be naturally a resident. Voted. Some of them are partisan, sometimes non-partisan, and you can pick whatever group you want. If you want to be a Republican, you can register. If you want to be a Democrat, you can do that. You can be an independent and not be a part of the two major parties.
That's true.
Okay, or you can be an affiliated.
Right.
Or you can be a Green Party.
Okay.
Or you can be a Libertarian Party.
All right.
So my point is that it's like a gumbo. You can do anything you want to. You can pick whatever piece of meat you want out of that gumbo.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
See what I'm saying? Saying it in a sort of a crude way, but that's just the way it is.
That's true.
So, with that being said, like I said, please get involved, very, very much involved aspect of on this piece. Now, some of the things that we might want to consider talking to now for the next few minutes or so, talk about some of the things that are pressing right now. Let's say to take the city of Portland, the area that we are in right in this area here, we talk about homelessness.
Yes, that's true.
Huge. That's
yes,
huge. In fact,
very
that's
huge.
nationwide.
Yes.
The idea, what is it mean to you here in your area where you live as a voter?
Right.
If you're in Portland, you're gonna be met, and we're very familiar with the issues of homelessness.
True.
Some cases they're basically housed right outside of your yard.
That's true.
As you drive to work, you see them on the side of the highway.
Amen.
Or you see them on the highway, with the
highway.
tent, if you will. And sometimes it's very inhumane to see human people like that in that kind of an environment. You see what I'm saying? So why are they there? So we're looking for an answer. So when a person is running for office and they say, well, look here, there are homelessness, and let's say from a candidate standpoint, they say, yes, they're homeless, we need to do something for these homeless, but a lot of times they stay and they stop. No, we want a solution.
Absolutely.
They need to be talking about, you
yes.
need to vote for me because I got the solution.
Absolutely.
Not maybe all totally, because in many ways the folks who are already elected to office, they're not going to share with you what they feel their solution is.
True.
And what their discussions are. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you kind of like on your own,
right.
try to figure out how do I, well if you're upset about it, you know there's a problem with homelessness. You're upset. So then you just got to think about just simple terms. What do you do? Maybe the first thing you might do is start thinking about that you can do is that maybe you can take one in on your own.
Absolutely, yes.
Take one home with you.
Absolutely,
see?
yes.
But then people say, well, gee, I don't want to do that. Well, okay, then what do you want to do? Well, I think we need to do this. Okay, well, spell it out. But when you spell it out, make sure you put a figure on it, money, the impact it's going to have on your neighbor, the impact it's going to have on your safety.
That's true.
You got to consider all those kinds of things.
Right.
So when you come up with a solution, and you got to do those kinds. And then I'm saying to the voters, because I'm speaking to the voters, the people are going to be voting for these people. Those are the kinds of things you want to ask these people.
Right.
Don't just read about it, about what they, no, ask them in an eyeball routine. And that's the beauty of having them on the shows like this.
That's true.
Because I know you will ask them.
Yes,
You will not just take a one-side view where you say, what do you mean by that, right? And you do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what this is all about.
That's exactly what it's all about.
And this is live. There's no changing anything
yes.
or editing after it's done, right?
That's true.
What you get is what you see.
That's
right?
true.
So that's very important. So homelessness is a major issue, and how do you prioritize that? See, so people are still looking for solutions. And I will say one thing about that homeless piece aspect of it. A lot of times people say, well, we need more low-income housing. Well, the homeless, the first thing that comes out of the mouth for homeless, as I see it, is called shelter.
True.
You gotta get them off the street. Shelter.
That's very true. Yes.
Not quote, give them a house.
Yeah, put them somewhere where they're warm and safe.
Right.
Yes.
Because if you say low income housing, you still have to pay.
That's true.
And if you ain't got the money, not that they need shelter,
That's
a place
true.
that got a roof over their head, food, clean up, that kind of a deal. So what do you do about that? And that's the big question. You got me? And so if you got a solution, if you're saying, okay, fine, we can put them in a house over here that's just been built, you know what I mean, but no rent. You see what I'm saying? So then if you say no rent, well then how do you get the house built? Okay, so you get the house built, then who are you going to charge for it?
Right.
Are you going to charge people who are in the house that's struggling to try to keep their mortgage payment? You're going to put a tax on them.
Okay.
But what about them? You got seniors in there that are basically going to fix income, and they got their mortgage payment pretty well laid out based on what they've got on the retirement.
That's very true.
But if you put a tax on it, then guess what? Then you put them in jeopardy of going in the homeless situation.
That's true.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
So there's a lot of things to think about. So when a person makes a statement about homelessness, and they start telling me about, well, we need more low-income housing. No.
Right.
We need shelter right now, where we can go and give them a place to drive, and then try to figure out what do we do.
That's true.
Who's on the street?
Right.
Did they commit a crime? Or do they have kids and whatever? Are they going to school? You know, my point is that to know what's on the street is very, very important.
Very important.
Very important.
Yes.
So I'm just throwing that out as kind of like a gimme to educate the people who are going to be voting. And those are the kinds of questions you want to ask the people who are in here. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times the only way you can get that is through shows like yourself. You got me?
Yes.
And myself.
That's
getting them on
true.
here physically.
Yes.
Because that's our job. Our job is to ask them those questions. Well, how you going to do it? You know.
Yes.
So when you say low-income housing, what do you mean?
Yes, that's very true.
Because some people say, well, gee, well, Bruce, they got Social Security and they got a little money here coming in. Okay, fine. Then maybe the rent, okay, maybe they can afford a little rent, but how much of that are they going to have to pay for food and clothing? And if they got kids, they got to do this. So they got this left for housing. Well, then if a person getting a paycheck, a Social Security check for maybe $600-700. Well, then they can only maybe if they go through that deal and they say, well, I think I can afford about $200 a month, and the other $300 will pick up my basics, right?
Right.
You got me? But $200, then where do you get the housing for that?
Right.
Because then with the stuff that we have in the Portland area, all this property is high. I mean, they're tearing down old houses and putting new ones in there at $500,000 in some cases.
But they don't need to do that.
No, but I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying. So then you ask that question of the people who's running, what are you going to do?
Right.
Yeah, well, what you going to do?
Yes.
Dang, and then let them answer that question.
Yes.
So that's a good one, okay? Mental illness is another major issue here within our area. As far as I'm concerned, the opioids and the drugs and this, that, and the other, but the fact of the matter is, it's an issue. A lot of folks have been addicted, if you will. Opioid, we're talking about pills.
That's true.
We're talking about pills. Now, we're not talking about the marijuana. We're talking about pills.
That are legally dispensed.
That's right. And people are making money on it.
That's true.
And a lot of the people who are making money may be investing in the stock market.
That's true.
See? So when you start talking about getting rid of the pills, the people in the stock market say, I ain't going to vote for that.
Right. Okay.
I want them to I got to keep my money coming in so I could pay my mortgage payment.
That's true.
See? So you have an impact on everybody.
That's true.
But at the same time, the people over here that are being affected by all these pills that they're getting, all of a sudden they ain't working. They're having problems.
That's true. That's very true.
They ain't got no job.
Absolutely.
So what are you gonna do about that? You know what I'm saying? So you got to find some way to give them employment to work. So so how do you do that? So you see what I'm saying? So it's always that question one has to have, and we got to consider all of this. How many people this is going to impact, if you will,
yes.
and all the other folks that is going to impact. And the first person you want to look at is the poor people, the senior citizens who are on limited income, if you will, that are living in their house. Because somebody got to pay for those. A lot of times, pay for those pills. When I think about that whole opioid piece right up front, remember we used to have a mental illness institution, and when they gave them a pill, they had to drink it right there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right there.
Oh yeah, for definitely.
But today it don't work that way.
Right.
They'll just give it to them, they'll mail it to them, or give it to them out of a window, and then they'll go around the corner and sell it.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, very destructive.
Or give them a needle, if you will, to do the hair on or whatever.
Yes.
Well, see, but that to me is not. We need to address that. I think that's inhumane in many ways. You
Absolutely.
My point?
Yes.
But my point is that, it affects a whole bunch of other folks.
True.
But at the same time, that's where we are. There's a lot of folks who got elected voted for that stuff and said that's okay. You got me? And you don't never see anybody saying, well, let's see, how did we put this legislation through to sell all these pills the way they're doing? Mm-hmm. And somebody said, well, I don't know. Well, wait a minute. Why don't we go to day one and see who voted for it in the legislature?
Right.
Who instituted the bill to go before the legislature and vote?
Because we got billions of dollars. That's what I keep hearing on the news.
That's right.
That we have available to deal with opioids.
Yes.
And if they got the money set aside, you keep hearing different stories, true or false, or going back and forth trying to resolve confusion.
Right.
And I'm saying there's no confusion.
Yeah.
You're saying it as if you're speaking from authority, and then you're saying it if you just heard about it from someone else.
Exactly.
And when the reality is, it's out of Trump's mouth saying
exactly.
we got billions of dollars to deal with opioids, and that's what we're going to deal with.
Right. So like you said, the name of the game. Let me get this thing off here. This thing is still dinging in in my deal here.
I understand.
I'm just getting this thing off here a little bit. Okay. I think I got it. I'm still not getting it. But anyway, but the bottom line, like you said, they got the billions of dollars. Okay, fine. Where is that money?
Where's the money? That's what I want to know.
And what is it dedicated for?
Yes.
And then why did we pick it up to begin with?
That's true. we know we got the money that's available to people, but are we trying to quietly dispense it, or are we trying to openly let everybody know that it's available to everyone? But if we're only talking about the people that are just high class drug addicts, and they're
gonna get there.
They're getting there. Then there's billions of dollars being squandered to taking care of their high.
So then you ask yourself, well, who's paying for the high?
Absolutely, yes.
It's the little person down below that's about 1 foot out of the door to losing their house. That's a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because some months you got to come up with some of that money we talked about. Got to come up to take care of those folks.
Yes, we do.
So it's just a kind of a circle kind of a deal. So what is the impact?
Yeah, going nowhere fast, and that's what's so sad.
And just like we're talking back and forth here, that's what we have to do with the people who are running for office.
Absolutely, yes.
They got to give us an answer.
Yes.
And that's why it's so important that when you get this voters pamphlet that you'll be getting in the mail, when you get a voters pamphlet in the mail and you see these folks, you need to look at the resume. There's a phone number there too.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then they have meeting places all over the place. You need to go, you need to attend, but then, like I said, from our standpoint, we're going to try to draw these people here.
Yes.
And a lot of times they don't want to come here because guess what? They don't have the answers.
Because we're talking meat and potatoes. We're talking about facts, straight facts, and that's what we want answers.
Exactly.
Is the facts.
Exactly. And so that's a very important aspect of it. See, and then you got then like I said, then in all due respect, we're faced now with the whole issue of the illegal immigration piece. Now we're talking about the big issue now is the sanctuary city. The San Francisco deal.
San Francisco, California.
We see this whole picture aspect of it, and say, wait a minute. Well, we need to solve the problem.
Right.
Well, first off, who signed the bill for sanctuary city to begin with?
Right.
Where did it start?
Right.
What was the rationale for doing it?
And
the impact that it was going to have on the society across the board.
And there's an answer to that there in their face.
That's right. But the key is that the people who are running for office are supposed to have that answer.
Right.
And the people who instituted to begin with.
Right.
We need to find out what the facts were. Why did they do this to begin with?
Absolutely.
Why are they continually holding this inventory of 11 million people who are undocumented?
True.
Going to work every day. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And what's the impact that this have again on people across the board? Somebody's got to pay. Somebody's got to pay for the job that was lost because this other guy got the job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because we use this whole, because I've been hearing this stuff for many moons about, well, they're doing jobs that Americans don't want to do. Wait a minute, you didn't ask the question of the folks that's unemployed.
True, that's very true.
There's no such thing if a person loses a job and goes to the employment and draws that regular draw, but then at the end, after they get through drawing that regular draw, and then they say, well, look, I don't want to work. Well, no, we got a job over here. Well, no, I don't want to do that. Well, you don't get no check.
Absolutely, because the job is there and it's available and it's open.
You're unemployed, and there it is. Now, the key is that's the motivation for you to say, well, boom, I'm going to just go and do what I did, and then I might go to school or this, that, and the other to get me a better job.
Absolutely.
I'll wait till the other job comes back to me.
Yes.
But see, those are the kinds of questions and discussions we need to have, because it's just as wrong to try to motivate a person to stay, quote, in a undocumented kind of a mindset, living in a community that's capitalistic. You got me?
Right.
And then enjoying a lot of the benefits for those who are paying their rent.
True.
That's the way I look at the whole deal. If you're a legitimate, registered, all this other person, if you will,
right,
you're paying your rent.
Right.
And if you're not paying your rent, somebody else got to pay. Again, I go right back to the person getting ready to lose their house.
That's true. That's true.
The person that got to look, then you say, well, wait a minute, what's this gonna? Well, so that's another major area that we need to discuss. And then now that this big issue with the San Francisco piece, and the idea that this shooting thing, and this, that, and the other, that has a major impact on everybody. So that's why we need the candidates to talk to us. There might be someone that knows how to find that needle in a haystack.
Well,
How we solve that problem?
the invitation is already out. We always extend an invitation to any and everybody that
Right.
wants to come on TV.
Right.
And we're still waiting for them.
Right.
They're making these empty promises about their coming, but I haven't seen them or heard from them.
Right. So then that's why we could talk about them. So we'll just talk about it between the two of us. So soon come March, we'll basically look at each of the positions that will be run on, if you will.
True, very true.
And then we'll take each one of them down the line. There's a name and there's a photo of the person, and then we'll just kind of do a little interview of what we got.
Okay, I'm for that.
And saying that if you don't show up, then guess what? We can read between the lines. Because I know you're going to ask for the facts.
Yeah, absolutely. 'Cause I'm definitely going to ask for the facts, and we're going to read between the lines and put it on the air.
Yes,
for
exactly.
everyone to see.
Exactly.
And to know who you are
Exactly.
and what you're not about.
Exactly. And then make it very clear and plain that you shouldn't vote for this person.
Right. Very, very true.
As opposed to this person. This person's got more on their resume, and we can read between the lines. This one has more to solve the problem than this one.
True.
Even though they don't have the total solution to the problem, but at least they're the better of the two.
Absolutely.
That's the key. And then maybe that might be enough motivation to get them to come to the table.
Well, I'm inviting.
Or you invite them.
I'm inviting all you people out there in TV land or wherever you may be. If you're signed up, can I see your picture?
Yes. Just the voters' pamphlets.
The voters pamphlet, which was filled out in.
No, that's the old one. But
it's the old one.
We get something similar to that.
It's something similar to this voters pamphlet, and your name will be listed in it, and the information will be available to everybody. And
that's right.
And I'll try and make your name available to everyone when I did request your coming on.
Right, exactly.
And see what you did or didn't do.
Exactly.
Or what you're talking about or didn't talk about.
Exactly.
Because it's not about just running your mouth and trying to sound good because you got a few friends that believe in you wholeheartedly. It's not about that. It's all about speak from your heart and let your heart show you the way.
Right.
So that's what we talk about.
Good.
And for a moment, we were going to talk about. I wanted to talk about the
sex thing.
About the sex thing. About all you gentlemen out there sleeping with these women and getting the draws and enjoying yourselves, and now they turning your behinds in and clowning you. And now you've got these jobs you have for 20 years, 30 years, and you're about to retire or getting close to retiring. And here you're on clown status. Now you're getting to feel what it's like to be what a lot of black folk felt like they were unjustly imprisoned because they made a big deal about what they had done. But I'm trying to see who's going to be registered as a sex offender and how many times he going to register and how many times he going to be on clown status. I'm looking forward to reading about that or seeing that in the papers. Because generally they'll say he had an encounter with a woman, like a young lady is 17 years old right now. She ran off with a guy that's 27 years old. And they're trying to, like on the news, trying to be very suave about, well, if he just returned her home, like as if he safely returns to the family, and if she ain't too badly bent out of shape, or whatever the case may be, if she went willingly or unwillingly, don't make no difference. We're willing to just resolve the matter. And I'm just trying to say that's not what they do with black folk. It's like, how can we clown you and make a big thing about it? And I like that person to be brought to justice. If he felt her coochie, he should have to pay for that behavior. If he's felt her breast, he should have to pay for that behavior. If he slept with her because he feel like they're together, he has to pay for that behavior. Because those are like signs of rape. Most people will try and treat it like it's just a conversation. But Donald Trump, he boasted about it. He got some pussy and did all that stuff. He needs to be brought to justice too. But he
brought it to the table.
He brought it to the table, and he's out there running his big mouth, letting everybody know I'm president of the United States and I can say what I want to say. But those are the people now that he's talking about like a dog because he's trying to bring those people to the table. And if you're doing things that are wrong, then you need to suffer the consequences for your ill behavior. And quit trying to just make up conversation because you're running black people through the ringer and they're in prison now doing years and years in jail. So if you don't take the 15-month deal or a 15-day deal or 15 weeks deal, then we're going to try and get the prosecutor to give you all the time he can possibly muster in his head, because the judge is sitting there like a zip damn fool and going along with it and allowing this bad behavior to go. But now you people are caught, and now we want to see what happens to you. Not no slap on the wrist, not no rubbing the back of your hand. You need to be brought to justice. Now, I hope this lady will be returned back to her family, undestroyed or unkilled or unhurt or injured. But the injured, hopefully he'll come to the awareness of his ways, and whatever time he has to do in jail or whatever he has to do in rehabilitation, let him do that. But it needs to be addressed. Right. And these are the things people
I'm going to throw something on the table, and I'm sure we were chatting about it before we got on. And wasn't it something, in all due respect, as a result of President Trump, who brought the issue to the table, they had $18 million in a pool in Congress.
Yes.
$18 million hidden from the public
to
pay off the coochie cunt.
Oh, that's terrible.
18 million.
That's terrible.
$18 million. Yeah, 18 million. And then the other thing is that, naturally we've been saying, well, gee, we had this divide of black and white routine, but guess what? Then all of a sudden, they caught the biggest fish in town on the black side.
Yes.
Conyers.
Yes, okay,
Conyers,
good.
the most senior guy in Congress.
Okay, great.
Okay, and now he's gotten caught, and then he paid the money under the table, so to speak, to this lady, if you will. And then now some more people are coming up. So it's not color, it's a culture. It's a culture that's happening, and it's kind of like now it's best to stop this thing now, because it will cause a whole bunch of other folks.
I'm glad y'all getting caught.
So there's going to be a whole new election.
Absolutely,
and it's hit even the local folks, if you will.
Absolutely, yes.
So this is big stuff. We might get a whole new crop of folks.
Absolutely, I'm 100% for that.
So it's going to be a whole new crop of folks. So,
yes.
So one has to clean their deal before they get here. But I will say this: but if you're poor,
absolutely,
you don't have to worry about it if you did that, because you ain't got no money. If you got some money, they'll say, we'll just put you aside.
Well, no, they'll try and clown you if you don't have no money. It's easier putting you in jail if you don't have no money.
No, they ain't even looking at it. But if you win the lotto, that's what I'm getting to. But if you win the lotto, you got problems.
Oh, they'll take all the money. That's the name of the game.
See, but in all due respect, on the serious side, we got to solve that problem, because it's a culture thing. It's been with us for years and years and years, among the men and female kind of a deal.
Absolutely.
Men have violated this stuff for a number of years. How you just getting the job, because it's kind of like saying, because the old saying in some cases, in some areas, was that the woman would say, well, who do I need to screw to get the job, but who do I need to screw to get out of the job?
Absolutely.
Yes, that's kind of like what has been done, and people just laugh about it. You got me? The comedians would joke about it. I mean, just go on and on and on. I mean, people, imagine even in the display aspect of it, you don't see too many men brochures or booklets or whatever with the penis hanging all out. You see what I mean? But they'll expose the woman totally.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So those are some of the areas that we need to look at. And then from a woman's standpoint, sometimes say, well, gee whiz, what about this? Well, what about the dress situation? That whole situation about, it's almost like, you look at the news today, you see these women up there, in all due respect, it's like a fashion show. And things are short, and people open up all kinds of stuff. See what I'm saying? So we're addressing the whole issue. That's where I'm coming from.
Well, the deal is, if a woman wants to,
she can wear what she wants.
To wear a dress so short that it's like, bend over, let me look up your address, that's her call.
Yep.
That's up to her, but it's up to the man to be more responsible, to not put his hands where they don't belong.
Yeah, right.
So, or not do the things that he desires in his mind to do, but he's physically carrying these actions out as if it's okay to do, right. And other people are sanctioning this bad behavior. Bad behavior is bad behavior, and no matter how you try and cut it or make it look, it's still bad behavior, right. And that's the issue that they're raising.
Right.
And they're bringing you to justice and clowning you,
right.
and truly clowning you.
But we need to discuss it.
They need
We're
to
discussing
discuss
it now,
yes.
and that's good.
And
that's
they're bringing
good.
a lot of people now to take classes and courses on how to treat women or behave around women.
And that's good.
So they're not trying to tell them, look, button your blouse up to the top of your neck and all this stuff. It's telling a man you need to have good enough sense to not go past the point of what isn't available to you to see, to try and create in your mind to have seen what or imagine what you want to see, and then ask questions.
Okay, tell me, Bruce. Okay, we can get him about 10 minutes. We'll get him in real quick, like, because I got to go for 4. But Bruce Cuff is here.
Oh, Bruce Cuff.
Yeah, we'll bring him. We'll put him over here real quick.
Okay, come on in.
Come on in, Bruce. Come on in here real quick before we go at our 4 o'clock piece. Okay, we got Bruce Cuff. I mean, he jumped right on out there. You know, you've seen Bruce on this show before. You remember Bruce? You remember Bruce? Yeah, you remember Bruce Cuff? Yeah, Bruce is running for governor. He excuse the French. He's down at the little end with the little people. He knows those little people a mile a minute, right up front with him. We got to thank Bruce for being at the table, because anybody above him, let's put it away from a monetary standpoint, he's gonna get the issues on the table. How you doing, Bruce?
Good.
You're looking well.
Oh,
Jesus.
I just barely got here, so
that's okay. That's okay.
Raining on me.
Hey, see, Cecil's got quite a show.
Yeah.
You're talking to his audience right now,
okay.
and I wanted to make sure that even if we take 10 minutes and spend some time on the show here, introduce you.
Appreciate
Why don't you just start off right off the bat and tell them what you're doing. You're running for office.
Well,
you ran before.
Yeah,
Tell them.
I don't know where I'm.
Now you can just look at us.
I'm running for governor of Oregon. I've ran twice before, and I have a lot of supporters all around the state. So we're starting a lot earlier than we did before.
Okay.
You know, I consider myself to be a constitutional conservative Republican. And that's what I'm.
What does that mean for the little people? What does that say? How do you
what
define
that means is that, you know, we have strayed so far from our Constitution when it comes to, you know, First and Second Amendment rights.
Freedom of speech, everything down the line.
Absolutely. And so, and when it comes to states' rights, you know, we just witnessed it in Oregon with the wildfires. Right. 750,000 acres burned, and us as Oregonians really had no control over doing anything with that, because 95% of those fires were on federally managed land. So 53% of Oregon is managed by the federal government. So even though our Forest Service does a great job jumping on a fire, getting it out right away, the feds are more hesitant to do anything. And so, for instance, I heard this video from a guy from Curry County, the commissioner down there, and he was begging on that Chetco bar fire. Right? It burned over 170,000. I can't remember what the final number, 100 acres. And there's a 2-minute video where a Curry County commissioner is basically begging the U.S. Forest Service, when it was 100 acres on top of the hill, hit it with all the water you can, and let's get this thing out. Well, his response was, well, we don't want to. We want to be a little careful, because if we hit that with all that water, the embers might go down the mountain and it might spread. Well, after burning 175,000 or more acres down there, you know, they should have gone on it right away. But see, our county commissioners have to beg. You know, you got to beg the feds to do what they're supposed to do. And you've driven across Oregon. You've seen the management of the forests out there. It's horrendous. There's dead trees where I live. I live in Mahama, which is about 25 miles east of Salem, kind of right at the foothills of the Cascades. Very beautiful area. But if you go between there and Bend, you get up on top where Sutter Lake is and whatnot, Deschutes National Forest, you can stand there and take a 360. There's no forest there. There's sticks. Dead sticks. And that's from 2003. The fire from 2003 has not been cleaned up.
They've never cleaned it up.
They've not done anything. So,
well, Bruce, tell me something. You're running for governor, you know, and naturally that tends to be closest to the people. But when you think about the congressional delegation, they're the ones that hire those people.
Exactly.
So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that?
Well, we need to have good leadership, you know, in every single one of our congressional districts too. And they, you know, and really it doesn't matter what side of the aisle on. They should be for Oregon. And for Oregon, you know, I think Oregonians want to come together. We're so divided right now. It's crazy. We need to come together, and I think we come together around basic things that we can agree on, like we need to take care of our forests.
Right.
If the federal government's not doing it, you know, the horrendous fire up here, you know, Multnomah County fire, or the Multnomah Falls fire.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
That was awesome.
That's really impacted a lot of people in Portland. I think it really brought it home to what's going on in the rest of the state, because, you know, that's a place they go, you know, on the weekends, and now it's gone.
Well, you see, the lobbyists, we do recognize the trees as part of the economy.
Absolutely.
And that's some of the money aspect of it. And it's nice and green, but that's the economy.
Yeah.
But the lobbyists in the congressional level and the lobbyists at, let's say, in the states level, in the government, they're smaller fry compared. These are national, corporate, blah, blah, blah routine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, is it right? But some way, shape, or form, we got to keep that together, but it has to make sense. That's the thing you're talking about.
Absolutely. And I think most Oregonians, they want to see, I think most Oregonians want a sane forest policy, you know, to shut it up and not log it at all. You know, you look at the Elliott Forest, right? That's supposed to be a school fund forest. We're supposed to be logging that
for schools.
For schools. And
what happened to the money?
Well, they're not logging it. So they're $5 million in the red. So what was their answer? Trying to sell a portion of it.
What? To whom?
Well, that's what Kate Brown and those guys, they were going to sell that piece of forest, and they went back and forth on it. And that's one of the reasons I want to be governor, because there's 3 people that sit on the land board, and that's the governor, the secretary of state, and the treasurer. You know, and Dennis Richardson was just elected secretary of state. If we can get a second person on that land board, we can have some sane, forest policy in Oregon.
Well, one other thing they can do is that, like yourself, and I know you, I've known you for several years because you ran even the last time around, but the bottom line is that you're knocking on the doors of the people that it's really having an impact on.
Absolutely.
You got me?
Well,
and so we need to communicate more, and more people need to talk like you.
And starting in January 2nd, I'm gonna cover 36 counties in Oregon in 33 days.
Wow.
Okay.
Right, because I want to go and I'm gonna spend a day in every single county. There's like 4 little counties in eastern Oregon: Wheeler, Gillum, Morrow, and Sherman, that they don't have a lot of people in them. So I'm going to handle that one county or that area in one day, but for the rest of it, I'm going to spend an entire day in each county. And I've got out to my supporters the day I'm going to be in that county. I'm asking them, hey, set up some meetings in the evening that I can meet people. And if we can't set anything up, I'll be going door to door. You know,
well, that's why I wanted you to come on the show, because Cecil has a viewership aspect of it, and you can educate them, because when they get this, it's all about beauty, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is not the real deal. You know what I'm saying?
I've never won a beauty contest. So.
What else are you hearing out there, Bruce, in regards to some of the next issue is this big issue with reference to sanctuary city piece. That's a big issue,
right?
And we're just getting ready to get into that kind of a thing. The first thing I always ask is that, where was its origin? Who signed off? Who brought the thing to the legislature to begin with?
Well, there's two things out there right now, and of course, D.E.A, when he was governor, that was actually passed when he was governor.
Oh, is that right?
And there was some issues with immigrants from the Middle East that they thought were treated unfairly. So we kind of backed off, and that's where that law came from.
That's where it all started.
But really, it's just kind of sat on the shelf for a long time. What really impacted currently what's going on, as soon as Trump was elected president, Kate Brown signed an executive order that basically said there's some sane exclusions in there about you know, if the person's a criminal, or if they've got a warrant for a federal arrest, then it allows our law enforcement officers to actually cooperate with immigration officials. But the law says that you're not just going to go after somebody based on their immigration status to remove them from Oregon, right? So there was exclusions if the person was a criminal, or he would have been a problem for public safety, whatnot. Well, in February, Kate Brown signed an executive order.
And she's the governor.
She's the governor, and she signed an executive order that basically directed all our law enforcement people to not have anything to do with the feds. And it's not really clear in the way she wrote it that it does anything different than what the law says. However, the way it's been interpreted is, hey, we can't talk to, even if we have a criminal.
Yes.
that's in the court system, and they're going to release him onto the street, and he's here illegally, our law enforcement officers cannot talk to the immigration people and say, hey, I got a bad guy here, and we're going to have to release him on the street, but you guys got a warrant for him on the federal level, you know, and they can't do it.
Well, why can't they have that discussion between individuals like you, because you're the governor here in the state, and the congressional delegation that's from Oregon? Haven't they gotten to the table to kind of get this thing?
Well, this is an Oregon law, though.
It may be an Oregon law, but my point is that it comes from those same representatives that get together and implement it that way. Is that right?
You talk to the immigration officials, and they'll tell you, we don't have time to chase everybody that's here illegally. What we're trying to do is the ones that are going to cause us harm. I mean, you would think that the governor of Oregon would be really concerned about public safety of Oregonians, and if he had an illegal alien here who has demonstrated he's going to harm people, and he's a criminal, you would think that you would want her to do everything that she could to make sure that guy doesn't get back on the street, or if we have to put him back on the street, that the feds know about him so they can remove him from Oregon for public safety.
I'm hearing
it's not what she's interested in.
See, Bruce, I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm still saying these are employees on the federal level. They had to have an employer.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm using that congressional delegation aspect of it, saying that they are the employers that we elect. Through our process.
That's true.
You're the one working with it day-to-day routine, but then the feds, we still elect that person.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, Oregon's got five representatives out of a Congress of 435 people.
Right. Okay.
So we could tell our guys that, hey, this is what we want to do.
Right.
You know, but the key ones in Oregon, I believe, because we're a smaller state, is the 2 Senate positions.
Okay.
Right. And if they're not going to be pushing Oregon's agenda back there for Oregon,
well, how do they feel about that? We got Ron White, and we got Ron, and who was the other? One thing about. Anyway,
Merkley.
Yeah, 2 senators. We have 2 senators.
But they're afraid to talk about immigration, quite frankly. But I think that we should have a distinction. I mean, I went to Jervis High School. Right, so there was a lot of Hispanics in the school that I went to, and great friends of mine. You know, I was raised in a rural community and worked right alongside of everybody. I didn't care what color they were.
Yeah, right.
But you know, when it comes to actually people being here illegally that are going to harm us, it just seems like they kind of assume that if they talk about that, it's a racial issue, and it's not a racial issue. It's a is this a person a criminal or not a criminal? You know, I mean, I don't care what color he is, or where he came from originally. If he's here illegally, and he's broken the law, the law should be colorblind.
Right.
It should say, look, this person is a danger, and then if they check in his immigration status and he's here illegally, all the much, you know.
Well, I think it would have helped out a lot. See, you can jump in. I think it would have helped out a lot if a person like yourself, who's an elected official, let's say, and a congressional person is elected official, to have those discussions before the public.
Yeah.
That's why I'm having you on the show now.
Like a town hall.
Yeah. See, that's why we wanted to have you on, but we want to get those other entities that are running too, that's going to be in here. We want the real deal. That's what I'm talking about. So I tell you what, we got about another 3 or 4 minutes. Cecil, you got any questions you may want to ask Bruce here? He's right here.
Yeah. Well,
he'll answer anything you got on your mind.
Yeah. I have just. I'd like to have you here next week, if you could possibly come, and then you could speak about everything.
Yeah,
I'll get him again. He'll come back.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think next Sunday. I think I gotta.
We'll get him back on, but we're trying to lure the others to come here too.
Christmas party. We're in Christmas time. I think I got 2 Christmas parties in a row.
Do you? Oh,
next Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
Family one, and then
we'll have you back on here. But in all due respect, we got you chumming to get the rest of them to come on the tape with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I've already said I'm willing to.
I know you're
talking about going to 36 counties in the state. I'm willing to debate
Wow.
My opponents in every single county in this state.
Well,
I think we have to do it so people know who they're elected.
Well, that's what I liked about your candidacy, the way you run, because you've done that ever since I've known you. You've been very real about the whole piece. That's why you need to get your message out.
And you're welcome to debate them on this show here.
Hey, oh yeah, there you go. That'd be good.
We'll get them on. We'll get them on. Well, look, we got about. I tell you what, we're gonna let you go on and close. I got to get him on the. I got to get him on the Oregon Voters Digest. Hopefully, you will look at the Oregon Voters Digest. Bruce is going to be there to follow up on the rest of the things he wants to say.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, that was a surprise. But thanks.
You did well. You noticed that?
You did real well.
Hey, thank you.
He didn't have to wait. Let's reschedule. He just came on. You know,
that's wonderful. Yes, I like that.
Well, just take that mic off there.
Oh, okay.
Cecil will go on and follow up on what he's doing, and then we'll run over here on the other end.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, because Bruce is going to have his show in about, what is that?
About 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes. His show on Channel 11.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll have you again in the near future.
All right.
And thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate that.
Okay,
and you guys are welcome to come and debate on this show. See you
next week.
Okay, Brother Broussard. See you next week.
See you.
All right. Y'all have a best night. Okay, all you wonderful people out there in TV land, we had some wonderful guests here today. And he's going to go and be on Bruce Broussard's show, which will be in about another 10 minutes. His show will go on, and he'll have this gentleman running for governor, and he'll be covering some very interesting subjects. And so if you'd like to tune in to Bruce Broussard's show, that'll be taking place in just a few minutes, or around about 10 minutes or so. Povo Community for Justice, I'm inviting everybody to come on, especially when I'm talking about poor people or Negro, colored, Black, African Americans. Come on, if you're running for an office or trying to get a position, convey your heart, speak your heart, tell the truth, expose your feelings, and enjoy yourself, because that's what it's all about. Speaking the truth and speaking your heart. That's what Povo Community for Justice is all about. And we really appreciate you all. And we have some very brave individuals, because I'm inviting Republicans, independents, Democrats. It doesn't make me any difference. As long as you got a message to get out, you're welcome to come on the show and get your message out. And it may bother a few people, but so what? My deal is, speak from your heart, tell the truth, and tell it like it is, because that's what life is all about. It's all about playing to win and being sincere. And if you want to be on the show with these gentlemen here that were just here just a moment ago, you're welcome to do so too, because any and everybody's invited. Man, woman, child, it doesn't make me no difference. If you got something to speak about, and then let your voice be heard. Let your conversation be heard. We'll make sure it gets out there on YouTube, which it'll have a running record of when you came on the show and what you spoke about. And you can text it to anybody the information anybody you want to, and let them know that this is what you're hoping to achieve, and that's what's going on. So that's what Povo Community for Justice is all about. It's trying to get you to play to win and to stay strong. And I don't care what your race is. It doesn't make me no difference. So if you're one of those gays or straights, it don't make no difference to me, because I'm talking about people putting them in jail or arresting them or bringing them to justice about thinking they can illegally impress women to do things or try and create behaviors that suit their personal needs and wants, and then just go along quietly with their lives. And I'm just saying, that crap's over with. And as long as you're exposed for your bad behavior, I want you exposed, and I want you brought to justice. And if this punishment comes with it, then there you be. So like I was saying, when I was speaking about the lady that's 17 years old and the guy's 27 years old, he may be getting all the coochie he wants from this young lady, or whatever he's doing. I don't know. And maybe he's not doing nothing, just holding hands, or maybe not holding hands. It doesn't make any difference. But he's thinking she's old enough to run off with him into the sunset, and he's not afraid of the consequences that he's gonna eventually suffer, or eventually have to be exposed to. and all that's good, all that's necessary. So people can talk as politely as they want to you when they get you into their hands, and then there's a whole different conversation. I'm just saying, you reap what you sow. So if you see something you like, and if certain behaviors come with demonstrating your likes and dislikes, well, you have to go along with those behaviors and get those behaviors straightened out and be in line with your behaviors. Because if they're bad, then you're going to reap what you sow in your bad behaviors. So pray about your actions, and hopefully it'll benefit everybody. But do what's right. And I believe in people getting married and all that great stuff. But I believe in people being with people that they chose to be with for all the right reasons. And be it a lady or a man, or a man and a man, or a boy and a girl, or a guy and a guy. We're just talking about a lot of human beings that are, the system talks about, oh, you can just be whatever you want to be and talk however you want to talk, and don't recognize life until we can determine whether a man is a young kid, he'll be one day a man or a woman, or he can pick his gender and all that stuff. And a lot of people have these wild conversations that sound like they make sense, but they're not making sense, but they make sense to the person that's communicating the message. And then they're trying to argue and debate the point. But that's human beings. They just go off on these little tantrums, and there they be. And they're trying to get other people to go along with it because it makes sense to them. But there's consequences to a lot of these wild behaviors, and you're going to reap what you sow in carrying out these behaviors or consequences, or caught up or exposed to these wild consequences. So pay serious attention, trust God Almighty, and pray and stay strong and stay focused. And it's all about playing to win and knowing better, or hopefully slowing your roll or slowing your behaviors and just not taking things for granted because you think things aren't bad because it excites you. So there's no worse excitement than your excitement, but there is excitements, and there's consequences to all different type of excitements. So like I said, this guy ran off with the 17-year-old girl, and it probably makes sense to him. He's excited, they're in love, and probably want to take off and go to another state and start a new life. And years from now, when he's caught, he'll be convicted based on the time when he committed the behavior that he committed. And he'll, no matter how long they run off and hide, eventually he'll be brought to justice. And hopefully she'll be brought to her good sense, and he'll be brought to his good sense, and they'll all have to reap what they sow. So it's all about paying blessed attention and doing what's right. So stay strong, stay blessed, and the best to the young lady that ran off, that thought that she was making a great decision. Hopefully she'll make an even blessed or better decision, because it's all about everybody trying to help everybody do what's right and go in the correct direction. So how much longer do we have, Brother Ron?
About 30 seconds.
About 30 seconds, okay. So God Almighty love all you people out there in TV land, and you know I love you, and I just want you to stay strong, stay focused, and stay blessed. And thank you for watching Pope Folk Community for Justice. I was at Emmanuel Hospital for several days, and they're gonna do an operation on me pretty soon. But I'm trying to do everything to stay healthy and strong and stay focused. And I want you to do everything you can do to stay healthy, stay strong, stay focused. Just play to win. Thank you.